How do they get quicker in game two?
Oh, well, they get quicker by getting stops. They're not going to outscore Cleveland, bottom line. They don't have enough firepower. But what they can do is get consecutive stops in a row, slow the game down, get good looks, and be aggressive.
And what he's talking about in terms of slowing the game down is it's about tempo. And he's good enough to do that because, again, we talk about the genius mind that he has. Some guys can make the game go fast. Some guys can make it go slow. I don't know if Toronto has that mind power, that mental power to speed up the game or make it go slow, because LeBron James on the other side is also such a creative genius with the basketball in terms of controlling the tempo and controlling the flow of the game. So do they have the mental stamina to keep up with what LeBron James is doing from a controlling the tempo standpoint? Like, he can sit here and say, yeah, we can do it. I don't know if Lowry or DeRozan can get to that intellect in terms of how do I slow the game down, how do I speed it up, how do I take the crowd out of it, how do I get to the foul line, when do we call a timeout, what's the ATO that's coming out. I don't know if they bring in that type of anti-shake case to the basketball game.
I would say, and I get where Isaiah's going, I think the one thing about it, though, the way you know what, I use a football analogy, right? In football, if you want to slow the game down, you run the football, right? In basketball, if you want to slow that game down, you attack the paint. And that's what they are built to do with DeRozan and Lowry. The fact that they didn't shoot a free throw, first time since they've been teammates that collectively they didn't attempt a free throw. So that, to me, tells me that the mindset wasn't where it needs to be. So if they can consistently, remember, Cleveland's not a team that blocks shots. If you can run good offense and get into the paint and attack and get to the free throw line, it gives you rhythm offensively, and it also gives you an opportunity to play 5-on-5 defense. A lot of that stuff we saw at attacking early and getting into the paint was because they were in transition or early offense where Toronto didn't get their defense set. So if they can do that, it can change the dynamic of the game a little bit, and it's going to give their team confidence, because you're only as confident as your best players. When your best players don't play well, it affects everybody else out on the floor. And those two guys, we've seen it the first two rounds with Toronto. Those two guys are the tone setters for this team.
Well, it's the third consecutive game one that the Raptors have lost in these playoffs. So they've been here before, but not against a team like this. And Justin Kimbrell, our researcher, just got in my ear. Of the 31 shot attempts for DeRozan and Lowry, 2 of them were in the restricted area, both by DeMar DeRozan. One more global question for you guys. With Cleveland playing this well, winning 9 consecutive in the East playoffs, you've got OKC now looking great, beating San Antonio up 1-0 against Golden State. Golden State still the champs. They still have the MVP. Who's winning it all right now?
If I had to bet, I still might have to go with the champs. I have to go with Golden State. Until they're beat, they're still the champs.
I think OKC beats Golden State, and I'm going to go with Cleveland to win it all. I think Cleveland finally gets a championship that they've been yearning for so long. And I look at these two series as very similar in terms of OKC has bigger, stronger, faster athletes than Golden State at every position. When you look at Cleveland, Toronto, Cleveland has bigger, faster, stronger athletes at every position. Now, who's the smarter team? We say Golden State's the smarter team. We look at Cleveland in this series, we say Cleveland's the smarter team. But from just sheer athleticism, size, length, and everything else, OKC, Cleveland are the 2 best, most athletic teams left in the Final Four.
And I would say that is true. And the point he made about smarts, that's where Golden State, as the defending champs, I still give them a nod. I would not be surprised to see OKC win this series. I thought it was going to go 7 when it started. But Golden State does have the skill and the IQ that can offset athleticism. And what they do is hard to defend. So if they can play that way, and OKC, what OKC's got to do is something they generally don't. They had 1 turnover in the second half. Now, if they play like that, I don't think anybody can beat them. Right? So it doesn't matter. But I don't think they're going to play a 7-game series with 1 turnover per half. So I do think that's going to be a tough one. But having said that, even though Golden State's the champs, and I think they're the favorites, I think Cleveland is the team that may end up winning it if they can stay healthy and get there. And it's no disrespect to those, because I think all 3 are capable. And I hate to knock Toronto like this, but right now Toronto's just a notch below, I think, in terms of the overall makeup of that roster. And those are 3 teams that I look at as being, they're heavyweights. They're super heavyweights right now. I'm not surprised to see any of those 3 hoist that trophy at the end of the year.